Ladies and gentlemen, welcome everyone to another episode of Fat Guy Little Sips on your Advent whiskey journey. This is day number 11. Okay, yesterday was a great day. We had a comparison between 3 different flavors. We'll go over that real quick, but I'm going to pour up number 11 real quick here. Give it a little time to breathe. And then we'll kind of go over what we have for the reveal. Give it a little swirl, little legs action. Good sniff real quick off the bat. Okay, so how's everybody doing though, huh? You feeling good in the neighborhood? Now, typically when I do a comparison, I have a little thing over here and a little thing over here. I don't know where the other one's going to be. Maybe it'll be right here today. You never know. So we'll have to see what's going on. So number 8, I think I had some discussion notes of it was a rye. It was a very, very dill forward. I said it was probably a craft because it was so dill forward. And the reveal is that it was an MLH distillery, a Monongahela rye. It was 96 proof, and it was Monongahela rye. It's an MLH distillery. It's kind of local. It's from Grove City, Pennsylvania. And one thing, I looked it up, Monongahela ryes are known for their about 4-to-1 rye to malted barley usually. So, typically in the industry, ryes have been kind of cut more with corn now. It's a little cheaper. So that's one benefit for the distillers. But also for the consumers, the corn gives it a little more sweetness, which kind of soothes out the rye. Now for the rye enthusiast, the original rye, which was, kind of usually made up in the Northeast around this area. Corn was probably a harder grain to make. So it was mostly, as much rye as possible. So the Monongahela, which is a river around this Pittsburgh area, Pennsylvania area, it kind of goes back to those roots. So again, it's typically 4-to-1 in the rye to malted barley percentages. So again, I felt it was a little dill heavy, wasn't very balanced in that standpoint, but that was my opinion. Number 9 was a Overholt Monongahela rye. That was 95 proof, and again, that was 80% rye, 20% barley. Again, they, falling back on that same kind of, rye, malted barley kind of mash bill. And again, the MLH did not give me a mash bill. So, we're assuming because it's Monongahela rye, that's kind of the percentage. But the A Overholt is actually a Beam Centauri product. I've actually had it before, and from my review, I thought it was a very consistent, kind of like I said, it was a rye. It was a high rye. It wasn't one of the what you would call a bourbon drinker's rye. So it wasn't, just a barely rye. Which kind of was consistent because I kind of said it was probably more of like a Maryland, kind of Pennsylvania rye, which is, what we're looking at here. And again, I thought it was very good for this tasting here. And then number 10, again, I felt for some reason it had that funk to it, and I associated that funk with, again, it's hard for me. I smell it, I feel like it has a little weed in it. I don't know, maybe that's grain. And then I also associate possible pot still with it. Still, I'm not an aficionado enough to actually, you know, understand what I'm smelling, but that's just kind of what comes off. And what this one was actually Liberty Pole's Monongahela Rye, which was a full proof, which was just kind of good. It's 108 proof, but their Monongahela Rye is actually a little different. It's 74% rye, but they go 13% barley and 13% wheat, which is a little different, which could be attributed to that wheat smell, that little grassy grain type smell I get. And it also is pot stilled, which could get off to that, you know, smell that I get. And then again, it is kind of a local, kind of a craft kind of taste. So again, I can't attribute which one of those three things actually is that overarching kind of grain heavy, earthy kind of taste that I get from these kind of tastes. But you know, maybe, you know, if I get a blind that has multiple of these things, I can kind of refine it a little better. But again, I did not like that because of that. But I like this better than the MLH because the dill was just too much. And I didn't notice the 108 barrel proof, so it was a lot smoother than 108, which is a benefit to the way that Liberty Pole did their distilling. One thing to note that I did see from their website that they did a low barrel entry 108 into the barrel, which most of the time the distillers throw the alcohol into the barrel at like usually like 125 or so like that, and then, you know, it interacts with the wood a lot heavier, gets a lot more interaction quicker, and those kind of things. So they're trying to do it a little more mellow, a little more, you know, kind of over time and so forth. And maybe that is kind of what we were seeing with the smoother kind of feel. So, you know, it's something to think, and you know, maybe that's something that we should go back to Liberty Pole and give them a true tasting of all their you know, products. So with that said, let's go on to number 11. Ooh, now that is good. I like the smell of 11. This is definitely a bourbon in my opinion. Okay. I think it is, I can smell the burnt brown sugar. Yeah, it's got some baking spices to it. So I'm thinking it's like maybe a high, it's got a Four Roses kind of smell to it, if you ask me. Now that's a little higher proof than what I've seen lately. So I'm gonna shoot for about 110, but it is still smooth. I'm enjoying that. I would say it's only about 4 years old though still, because the color's not that high and it's not that thick. It doesn't have a lot of complex flavors to it. It's just one flavor, but it is rather good. I still feel like I've had that before. You know what? It does start to kind of invade into a little heartburn in the back here, but not too bad. I don't think it's a Kentucky bourbon though. I would say it's probably, it might still be something local. maybe a wiggle, but like a better wiggle, because wiggle usually sucks. I kind of had a decent wiggle whiskey this weekend at the store, which I was surprised about. Kind of even actually had to tell the person working the store that you know, maybe their stuff's getting better with age, because you know, last 3 years I've tried their stuff and it's just been getting worse over time, but this year it's at least palatable. So that's what I would compare this to, like Wiggles' latest, you know, 4-year offering. That's what I would compare it to, you know, like something like about 108 proof, something like that. Okay, so again, hopefully you had a great Christmas. I don't know what I can think of as far as what's going on in Christmas. You know, who's your favorite reindeer? You know, I'm sure it's got to be Rudolph, right? But you know, if it's not Rudolph, would it be Clarice or one of the other reindeer that made fun of Rudolph? I mean, come on, you know, you got to tell me. Tell me in the comments. All right. This is Fat Guy Little Sip signing off. All right. See you tomorrow.